All right. Hey, how's it going? So I'm here with Dr. Jim Levett. He's a practicing surgeon in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and also on the Lynn County Board of Public Health. My name is Matt Sneller. I'm a former Army medic and now in the field of medical sales and telemedicine. And we're just going to have a little conversation and get going and try to get a little bit smarter about the coronavirus and what we can do about it. So some of the first things I'm curious about when this all kind of popped off is just kind of like a basic understanding of viruses. And one thing I'm curious about is what makes a particular strain of virus more, let's say, viral or contagious than others?
Well, that's a good question, Matthew. There are a lot of viruses. Viruses are basically protein molecules. They're not really living organisms unless they're inside a cell. So it's necessary for them to be inside a cell to reproduce themselves and affect people, infect cells. But there's a lot of them, they're ubiquitous. They're all over the place. There's probably, somebody's estimated that there's like 10 to the 31st power viruses in the world. So there's a huge number of viruses. They're everywhere you can basically associate with other organisms and any animals. So they're frequent. They inhabit animals, and they're passed from animals to humans and so on and so forth. But when they become pathologic, in other words, when they get to a point that they cause problems for people or animals, they can be very difficult to deal with because they're not something you can treat with antibiotics normally. There are some viral drugs, some antiviral drugs that have been used for some viruses, but in general, they're not good medications, if you will, to treat them. So they become problematic when they get into organisms that can't deal with them. This particular virus, the coronavirus, is associated with other viruses that we've heard about in the last 20 years, the Middle East respiratory syndrome MERS virus and the severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS virus that came along in the last 20 years, and both of them were managed, but didn't seem to be quite as ubiquitous, or didn't seem to cause a pandemic like this one, the coronavirus, has done. So the reason why this one is spreading quickly and became a pandemic, I think, has a lot to do with the fact that it can oftentimes cause fairly mild symptoms in people, maybe just a fever and a headache or sore throat, cough, things like that don't progress particularly. And because of that, a lot of people, I think, it's estimated around 20% of people may have had the mild symptoms and not really know they were infected, but because of that, they were able to pass it on to other people that, of course, before we all suspected that this was going on. So that was, I think, that accounted for a lot of the spread rapidly and throughout the world once it kind of got off the ground in China.